Welcome back to Unlocked with Keys. I am your host, MykeyaLatia, the host and founder of Unlocked with Keys. As many of you know, it's been a while. It has been a very long time, and I've missed you guys so much. But that's okay, because good things come to those who wait. So, without further ado, I want to hop right into this new season. This new particular season is about me unlocking my story with you all. You know, in the past, I've interviewed people to unlock their story with me, right? It was great. Loved it. But then I said to myself, how am I going to sit down and unlock with others their story and not tell you all who I am, right? So on this particular season, you guys will be able to dive deep into my life as much as I want to share. And I'm giving you guys fire vibes. Literally, I just have to throw that in there because we got the fire going. So we're giving fire vibes. Corny, but it is what it is. That's me. So without further ado, let's hop on into it. So we're going to have some fun this season. We're going to play some games. We're going to have some unexpected guests on there. Some people that you've probably never seen. Some people that you have heard of and who are crazy, and I love them. So we're going to do it all this season. I'm super excited for you guys to get to know me and who I am. So let's get into it. So the first thing we want to do is start off with the game. So this particular game is called Give Me 3 Keys. And I wrote like a bunch of different keys, you know, in here that I would pick and just like randomly select. So let's go here. Y'all hear that? That's legit. Okay, a little home decor, have to make it happen. So this one says, give me something good. Oh, okay, cool. 3 keys to building credit. Awesome. So first thing I always say, keep your utilization low. I say 25%, keep it below 25%. That is the first key. And for those who may not know, your utilization is how much credit card usage you use of your balance. So don't go over 25% of your balance that they give you. Okay, I know they'd be like, oh, here's $1,000. People like, oh, bet I got $1,000 to spend. No, sweetheart, no, you don't. You have 25% of that 1,000. Okay, don't go over it. And so another key, obviously, is making your payments on time. And for me, don't just make minimum payments. Pay over the minimum. Avoid that extra interest and keep your credit in line. And the third key for building credit, I know somebody like, I got a bunch of them. Oh, I would say this isn't like one that's like super important. However, it is important to have a certain amount of like revolving credit lines. So they need to be able to see that you have a good tracking history. Now, don't have too many credit cards or revolving debt. Don't have too many of those lines, but have a good amount to whereas they can see that you are responsible and you have a good amount of credit history. So that's something that creditors definitely look at, is that history. I ain't no expert. I just used to do credit back in the day, so I know a little something. So those are my 3 things. So keep your utilization below 25%. Make all of your payments on time. Do not make only the minimum. Pay more than the minimum. And thirdly, have enough credit that to where is that they can even identify you as a great customer, whatever, lender, borrower, whatever. Those are the top 3 keys for building good credit. So today's episode is going to be called Who is MykeyaLatia? As I said before, I want to unlock my story with you guys. There's a lot that some do know. It's a lot that some people never knew. There may even be some things that my girls look at me and say, what? I'll be like, yeah, girl, that happened. So I'm here for it. I'm excited. I'm super excited. So with me, I'm MykeyaLatia, and some people are like, okay, well, where did Unlock with Keys come from? So let's dive into that. Unlock with Keys actually was established in 2020. However, I've been unlocking since 2018. Many didn't know that. We're going to talk about that soon too. And so on my journey of figuring out, I said, okay, you know what? Before I got to this point in my life, I was at a phase in my life where I was just trying to figure things out for myself. And millennials, any human being here may be in that point in their lives right now, or were once at that point in their lives trying to figure out, what's my purpose? You know, what is my assignment? Why am I here? what can I do? How can I be of good use to others? You know what I'm saying? And I was going through that. I went through that at a very early age, and I'm so grateful for it. I believe I was in like high school. And actually high school I think is a common age for that, because people are always like, okay, what college are you going to? What are you studying? Da 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 da. Are you going away? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? I'd be like, calm down. Calm down. I'm trying to get through junior year. I'm trying to get through these ACTs that they have been preparing me for all of my life. I'm not thinking about what's going to happen in the next 2 years. So far out of my mind, okay? So for those who are in high school now, it's going to be okay. Don't let nobody stress you out, make you feel like you need to decide to be a doctor today. It's okay. It's really okay. It's going to all work itself out. Don't be in a rush. As Nipsey says, it is a marathon, not a race. Take your time. And we're going to dig into that too. I'm going to dig into it now. Take your time, because you don't want to get something too soon. You don't want to get something and not be able to fully value it, not be able to fully cherish it and develop it the way that you're supposed to. And people have to realize that you can't look at someone else's life and compare where they are, what they have, and compare it to what you have, because you don't know how they got it. You don't know how long they're going to keep it, and you definitely don't know what it took for them to get it. Because the point of the matter is, people are always going to show you the glitter and the gold, but no one's going to show you the rust. No one's going to show you the hard work, the breakdowns, the depression, the tears. No one's going to show you any of that it took to get them to where they are. So don't be in a rush to live somebody else's life. That's silly. That is really silly. But I mean, I'm not going to do that, because I get it. It happens. I probably look at somebody like, oh, dang, that's what's up. Well, that must be nice. I'm sure I've done it before. It happens. It's life. But readjust your focus and know what's for you is going to be for you, and it's going to come at the time that it is meant to be there, okay? So, moving along. How did I get to Unlocked with Keys? So, my mom used to tell me, because I'm like, Mom, you know, how do I figure out what my gifts are? Like, I don't know. Like, I literally do not know. And she would say, well, what is something you can do with the least amount of effort for free? And I'm like, you know, listen, I'm like, free? No one's gonna pay me? She's like, yeah. And so I really had to think about that. I'm like, that is really like, wow. You know what I'm saying? If you like meet someone who's doing something for free, that is out of like the true love in their heart. And so I had to really dig into my heart and decide, what is it that I wouldn't mind doing for free? Immediately, I'm like, I love people. I have a passion for people. But how does that mix with free? But not even just, really, honestly, let me be real. It really wasn't about the money. Until this day, it's not about the money for me. It's just not. It's gonna come. But for real, my real point was trying to figure out my destiny. Like, I didn't want to waste time. I do not like wasting time. And when she said that, it just really put things into perspective for me. And I was like super young. My mom like she always gives us wisdom. And my dad too, my parents give amazing wisdom. They drop gems on us, get us together, okay? Because let's be real, our parents have been here, they've done it, they've seen it, and they know some things, so listen up. But that's what she said to me. So immediately I'm thinking about it, and I realized, I look up, I'm like, I've been in customer service my entire life. Like, I've always worked in customer service. I always will work 2 jobs, went to school full time, college, this is in college times, and I did all of that. And I'm like, okay, but where do we go from here, right? And here comes the Lord, as he always do. So I'm working at the bank. I absolutely loved working at the bank, y'all. Like, oh my God, it was one of my favorite jobs. Like, I love my coworkers. Like, it was amazing. I love my customers. My customers were family. Like, it was amazing, right? So anyway, working at the bank, I was in control of the ATM. We had an ATM guy come out. So when he come out, I would have to like unlock the ATM and all that good stuff for him. And like one day he came in and he was like, you don't belong here. And I was like, He was like, yeah, like you just don't belong here. And something like, drove me to tell you that. He's like, I don't have premonitions or anything, but something told me to tell you, you do not belong here. And I was like, okay, well, where do I belong at that point? I'm young. I'm young, but I'm excited because I love knowledge. I love meeting new people. I love when people see things in me that I don't necessarily see in myself. I love that. Oh my God, it is such a exciting, like liberating feeling. It's like, whoa, you think that of me? Okay, let's look in the mirror. No, I'm playing. But anyway, so he was like, you should read this book called The Alchemist. I said, okay, cool. So I'm going to read it. I mean, honestly, y'all, I looked it up, but I did not order it immediately. I literally did not. I looked it up and I was like, okay, maybe. What he do? He already knew. He knew. Her little young behind just got out of high school. She is not about to read this book. Following week, he comes into the bank. Here's my book. I told you to read it. I was like, you know what? Thank you, Lord. You already knew what time it was. Immediately, I started reading the book. And when I tell y'all, I love this book. I feel like The Alchemist put me ahead of life 5 years. At that time, I was 17, just graduated high school. And I really felt 5 years ahead of my time. Absolutely fell in love. So basically, The Alchemist, it in a nutshell teaches you about your personal legend, really trying to figure out what your purpose in life is in a nutshell. Now granted, there are so many wonderful just stories and adventures during this book, but in a nutshell, it's trying to help you to identify what is your true purpose in life, right? So it even mentions how, typically whatever you wanted to do as a child is what you grow into becoming as an adult. And I'm like, so immediately I'm like, okay, Mikey, what was you trying to do back in the day? And I remember my dad would give us his old blue jean pants, and me and Markeya, we're gonna talk about this. So he would give us his old blue jean pants, and we would cut them up and make blue jean purses, and we would sell them. My mom taught us how to sew by hand, and I just loved fashion, like loved creating things, making little clothes for our Barbies. Like that's just what we did. We were like young entrepreneurs, like selling chips and candy and water balloons. These people was buying water balloons. This guy was buying them. As he was picking them up, they were busting like every time, and I felt so bad, and he just kept buying them. And I'm like, wow, the privilege of being a child. Like they feel bad and they just keep buying. Anyway, so that was one thing. And I wrote my first book. I was in the 3rd grade, so I was 9 years old. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I wrote my very first book. And like I just love to read. I love to read then. So I was okay, I wanted to be an author and a fashion designer. In Markeya, we used to play, that's my twin sister, by the way. Some people may not know that. MykeyaLatia. So anyway, we used to play like teacher and play house and all of that fun stuff. But we love playing teacher because we love teaching and like, talking to our little pets and our little teddy bears. And they was our, our students. They was bad and stuff, all that good stuff. But so those are some of the things that I loved to do as a child. So I kept that in the back of my head as I'm reading the book. And then going on through the adventure, the guy, he's just going through different parts of his life, different things in his journey, and really tapping into like some of the desires that were on his, the desires that were on his heart. He was tapping into each desire. He wasn't playing. And it was just super, super dope. And another thing that it taught me was to pay attention to everything around me, to life itself. And to stop believing in coincidences and believing that everything that happens in your life is for an absolute reason. Nothing is ever a coincidence. And that was one of the key factors that I got from that book. So immediately I started paying attention to the life around me. Like nothing was a coincidence to me after that point. And I was like, okay, cool. Here we go. Let's read and let's go through life. You know what I'm saying? Let's take on this journey. So, as I'm reading this book, I'm finding myself. There we go. Hello. I'm finding myself. And as I'm finding myself, I was talking to my manager. I'm like, hey, I want to go to school for communications. Like, I'm going to change my major. She's like super supportive. Like, I just love her. She's always like very supportive and always giving me great, wisdom. And so I kid you not, 10 minutes after that, this lady, now this is the lady, she comes to the bank, never seen her before. And she's just like super distraught. She's like, I have to put this money in my daughter's account. She just got a degree in communication. She moved to New York and she can't find a job. This degree, and she's like, she just graduated and this is supposed to be like, one of the most excelling degrees, and she could not find a job. And when I tell you, I looked at that lady, I'm like, who sent you? Who told you I just was changing my major to communications? Very creepy. The lady even, like, I don't know how, but we kind of got, like, really cool within those few moments of talking. She even gave me her number to call her whenever. And I think when I finally decided to call her, it was, like, a few months later. She didn't pick up. But it's okay. It was the thought. But anyway, I say all that to say, That was one of the first signs. I was like, wow. I mean, so of course, I'm like, I'm not changing my major. Like, we gonna work on these computers until God says else. So until he says something else, we work on these computers. So boom, I'm moving forward and I'm excited. I'm like, wow, this is liberating because I just got a sign within the quickness, right? Now, mind you too, when you think about it, because something that I like to do, I love to read like the self-help books, you know what I'm saying, those inspirational books, spirituality, but I read my word as well, my Bible. And I like to compare the two because a lot of, I mean, what you read in these books are in your Bible as well. But I love how, you know, some of them are more modern, you know, some of them are more straight to the point. Then you got your Bible, but it all mixed. It's really all the same thing when you think about it. So that was just super dope to me too. So anyway, in that moment, I'm just like so liberating. I'm so excited. I'm ready. And I'm really acknowledging the power that God planted in me. Like, Mykea, there's something there in all of us. We all have something special in us that we need to tap into, and we need to really figure out, what is that? What sets me apart from every human walking? What sets me apart? Someone spoke on this, I believe it was at service last week, about God said, I need this person for that, I need you for that, I'm gonna need her to do that, I'm gonna need him to work over there. I need one particular individual. And we're gonna dig into my story as to what really opened my mind in my mid-20s. What really opened my mind. I ain't gonna be acting like I can't share my age. But anyway, we're gonna dig into that. What really opened my mind to saying like, wow, God, you chose me. So look at yourself like that. Like, God, you chose me. God chose you. He said, this one needs to be here. So don't ever forget that, right? So moving on, I began to really, like I said, tap in, start paying attention to life around me. And there was this company that people were going to, and it was just like this really big, like, booming company that everybody was just applying, you know, getting hired. And it wasn't the plant before. Y'all be like, oh, I know what you're talking about. It wasn't the plant, it was the other one. So those who know. So anyway, I was like, oh, okay, this is dope. You know what I'm saying? Me and Mykea, we both worked at the bank, and we worked at our second job together too. And so we both kept hearing the same noise. Everybody at work was like, oh, you know, this company, I'm leaving and I'm going here. Like, everybody was quitting and going. So if I'm not like one to just quit my job, I'm just not. I have to have some sort of plan. Like, the Lord has to really say, Mykea, it's time to go. And that's the only way I'm leaving. I don't just leave. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we kept hearing this. Now, Mykea, she's more brave than me when it comes to this. So Mykea was like, I'm about to go. I'm about to apply. She applied. She got in. So at first I'm okay, go ahead, sis. You go ahead and let me know how it is. I can let you know if I'm on my way too. So she applied, and then after that, I applied, and I got in too. It was dope, right? Super, super dope. And so from there, so we working there, loving it. I met some of the most amazing people, and it was just wonderful. You know what I'm saying? It was really, really wonderful. That first year was incredible. That first year really did it. But somewhere along the line, I forgot my intent. I forgot my intent of following my purpose, of really staying on my assignment, really tapping into what God is doing and aligning myself with where I'm supposed to be. I forgot my intent, and I started chasing money. And that's the truth of the matter. I chased money. Not like literally like, oh, gotta get it. No. Like, money was cool to whereas like I was like, oh, I can go to school part-time. Oh, I can even take a little break. That's cool too, because this money is good. Like, I might not even have to finish school. Like, that's where my mindset was at that time. Thank the Lord. I was 20. Yeah, I was 20, because I remember I was too young to go out with the team, but it was all good though. But anyway, so yeah, I was chasing money. Money was important to me at that time. And I was there for a while. And then after I started to realize that, you know, things started to change. And when you're in a company for so long, things do change. They do. They don't stay the same. And interesting enough, my leader who hired me, the first thing he said to me in the interview was, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. I said, what? I'm about to be uncomfortable here? But he wasn't saying it like that. He was just saying that change happens. Only thing that is consistent is change. So be comfortable with being uncomfortable here. And so I said, okay, cool. I can take it. I love a challenge. Let's do this. cool, right? So like I was saying, like I forgot my intent. I wasn't focused on my intent, and I was chasing money. And although my pockets were filled, my spirit was empty. Okay, like when I tell y'all, I was like depressed, like literally. And I never say this. I literally never claim that, because I feel like I know mental health is so important, but for me in particular, I feel like I am in control of the thoughts that I allow to enter my mind. I'm in control of the way I choose to react to things. And for me to be in a situation of feeling completely depressed, that opened my mind to that. I was like, Mikey, like you can't be here any longer. The money means nothing. You going on vacation, but you're coming back to the same stuff. Now, granted, I had some wonderful people surrounding me, like I truly, truly did, but it was to the point where like I was on my way home, y'all, and I would have to pull over, and it wasn't raining. I was crying so hard that I could not see out the windshield. Like it was so bad, like, bruh. I was like really depressed, and it was just really bad because too, like, so you know you have like HR, human resources, who you're supposed to be able to confide in, like, oh, this is what's going on. It was a lot going on at that particular time that I ain't gonna unlock, because it is what it is. But it was a lot going on, and I confided in one of my human resources ladies, and I was like the 5th person to bring up this particular issue. Yeah. And the lady ended up quitting after. I said, what about those notes that we had took together? So she left. I was like, okay, I'm dealing with the situation alone. So whatever, that happened. Yeah, it was really sad. Honestly, it was a situation that, I don't know. I pick my battles. I just pick my battles. Some situations I just rather just remove myself from versus just putting myself through more agony to, you know, it is what it is. That's just how I move in certain situations. I pick my battles wisely. Maybe not all of them, but for the most part. So anyway, time goes on, and by the way, I did not choose to unlock this. These are not in my notes, okay? Not in my notes. But anyway, time went on, and I was just still depressed. Like, oh my God, I could not take it. It was to the point where I was like, demote me, please. Just remove me from this team. Demote me. Like, I kid you not. So I went to another HR rep, and I'm just like, I'm depressed. And I never say this. And I just confide in her, and I was told to suck it up. Verbatim, suck it up. No, I'm sorry. It was, well, you're just going to have to suck it up. I said, excuse me? I said, that is your advice to me? That was the advice I was given. And that showed me that you're replaceable. Do what we ask you to do. And stop whining. That's what that meant. So from there, game face on. Game plan ready. Okay? Because what you're not going to do, is treat me any kind of way. And I'm not saying she did this in particular, because she did it. It was just, you know, a lot of work, you know, and to be completely honest, I see people in this field who are phenomenal, and that's because that is for them, but it just wasn't for me. So let me be very clear. I'm not pointing blame for the overall issue, because besides the things that were in between that were out of my control, but the overall thing was, it just was not for me, and that's just that. I had bigger dreams and bigger goals for myself, and that's just that. And nothing against those who it is for, because we all have our own path, okay? That's why you cannot compare somebody else's life to your own, because what you feel works for you may not work for somebody else, and what works for someone else, it's not gonna work for you. So let's be very clear, okay? I know we in a real sensitive time, so I don't want nobody getting offended. So anyway, that was me. Anyway, I just wanted to share that, right? So boom, at that point, I made the decision that, you know, it's time to really, you know, get the gears going on where it is you want to go in life. Mind you, in high school, the pressure was on, but I was 21 at this time. Yeah, 21, 22. And then I'm realizing that, okay, what do you want to do in life? You know what I'm saying? So I just want to really emphasize that for especially the younger generation that may feel so pressured to figure it out. Even the older generation, There is no pressure in figuring it out. It's okay. And I actually want to go back a little bit, because what I forgot to mention about the Alchemist book, the ATM guy, after I finished that book, do y'all know that man came into the bank, like something random happened to where they alerted him that the ATM needed like maintenance. But the ATM was actually okay. It was nobody but the Lord aligning the situation. So he came into the bank like, oh, we got a maintenance issue. We're like, nothing wrong with ATM. So we talking. I said, today is actually my last day. He was like, shut up. Today my last day. And he's old enough to be my dad. He also came to the realization that he needed to tap into more of, life around him as well. Because just because you read a book, it gets you amplified, gets you really excited, but you got to also stay the course. You got to still, remind yourself of those key things that you once learned. So boom, our last day was the same day. Like, it was like super exciting. And that's another reminder that you don't have to be 17, you don't have to be 25, you don't have to be 45. Just start somewhere. It doesn't matter when you choose to start. Just start. You can be 65. Just start. Because if you still here, you still have a purpose. And that's just point blank. So I just wanted to really throw that in there real quick too, because I'm just really big on just people just taking their time in life. And if you know me, my mama would tell you, Mykea has not been the most patient woman her whole life, but I've become so patient, super, super patient. And I just want people to take their time. It is a marathon. Please take your time. Please, please, please. You don't want to end up in the wrong career. You don't want to end up where you do not belong because you were such in a hurry to do whatever. Don't be that person, okay? So, moving right along. So things are just getting rough. You know what I'm saying? They're getting rough, and it's about time to go. It's about time for me to leave this company that I was just so excited to be at. And I would say I learned so much. Like, I learned so much. Like, me and my sister, our resume is like pretty much identical, which is funny because we are identical twins. But our resume is pretty much identical. And I told her one day, like, if you can't figure out why you were brought to this company, at least write a list down of all the things you've learned that will help you when running your business. What can you take from what you learned here that can go towards your own company? And we made that list because I learned a lot. So in the midst of this transitioning happening, me and my friends started a show in 2017 called The Spill 313. Some people may know about it. It was one of the hottest shows in the D. I love The Spill. Like, y'all, The Spill was my baby. I had so much passion for this show. It was like unreal to me. I had never done entertainment. I was always camera shy, and I actually am still camera shy, whether y'all believe it or not. When people put cameras in my face, I be acting so awkward. Like, no, I don't know what to do. But I was like really camera shy. And so my friends came together. Originally, me and my sister wanted to do a show. And then, like, I get excited and I like to, like, include everybody. I kind of do that. People who know me know that, and I got to stop. But I got excited. I'm like, oh, me and you? I thought we did, like, girls and guys. Like, we have a bigger audience. That's my mind. So, you know what I'm saying? Bigger the better. So, anyway, we had all our friends. Everybody had a niche. Everybody had something that they had going on. My sister was a chef. My other friend was a chef. Other friend was doing fitness. It was great, right? Brother doing fashion. It was awesome. But me, I didn't have like a platform. I didn't necessarily have a niche, but I knew it would be fun. So anyway, boom, did the show. It was like really fun, y'all. Like, a lot of people who've seen it, you know how fun it was. It was dope. It was something new to the city. Nobody had done it. Nobody that I knew of, at least, had done it. And it was just really fun. We had like the whole studio set up, you know what I'm saying? We on the couches, we talking, and we spilling that stuff is what we would say. So that was just super fun. So anyway, over time, the enthusiasm kind of died down. Everybody's work ethic kind of changed. I'm not saying I was perfect, because I had my days too, but for the most part, this is what I wanted. It's 2 a.m. They trying to sleep. We're in a meeting. You wake up. It's time to work. That's how I yell when I'm excited about something. We're going hard, and it was 2 a.m. They thought it was time to sleep. No, and they probably like, Mykea crazy. I'm not really crazy. I swear I let people rest. I'm not like that. But just know, that's just how much I was driven. That's how much passion I had for it. That's just what I want you to understand. True story though. But so anyway, my mom, like a few of my friends were like, you know, maybe you should just like start your own show and move on. And I'm like, no, we started this together. Like, we go together. We don't, you know, I don't leave without y'all. What you mean? Mind you, my mom, she was our interior decorator, by the way. So if y'all like the setup, that's what it's called. And so anyway, I'm like, no, I'm not leaving. And now that I'm older, and I'm not saying that this applied then, I guess it kind of does. This is the importance of knowing when a season is over. This is the importance of knowing when it's time to cut ties, whether that's with a friendship, a relationship, and even a job. You have to know when that well has dried up, okay? And you have to also understand that sometimes our blessings become blocked when we try to bring people into our future that were never meant to go with us. We be so adamant, like, God, no, this my homegirl. She gotta come. What you mean? Like, we grew up together. I'll be like, no, you're not on the same path right now. Maybe later down the line, but right now, I need you to do this alone. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I said I needed you to do it alone. So he revealed to me, and over time I realized, like, yeah, I gotta go. So with much prayer, I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna start my own show. Nervous, where do I start? What is my name gonna be? Like, what? So Unlock with Keys, as you all know, is a therapeutic outlet where I allow others to unlock their story with me in a nutshell. Unlocked with Keys, I am MykeyaLatia. Make it make sense? Hope you got it. So initially, I started doing some of the shows, you know what I'm saying? I started doing some interviews. It was fun. Always in the back of my head, though, I was like, I always wanted to set myself apart, but I didn't necessarily know what would set me apart from other people. So, did it by myself for a minute. Then my sister, Markeya, joined me, and we did some interviews together. And, you know, it was short-lived. We realized that we should stay in our own lanes. She is a chef. I like to do hosting. I'm studying journalism. It just did not intertwine. And if you have siblings, you don't even have to be twins. If you have siblings, you know how much you probably bicker. And we bickered a lot. Ooh, child, especially growing up. So anyway, we definitely decided to stay in our own lanes. But in the midst of us, you know, trying to figure that piece out, we interviewed some amazing people, some like really dope artists and entrepreneurs. Like, it was awesome. Like, it was really a great opportunity. People who did not have to say yes, people who did not have to sit with us, and they chose to. So that was really fun. You know, especially being new out there, you ain't really expecting people to say, oh yeah, sure, I can be on your show. You're not really expecting that, and that happened. And so I was like, wow, like, this is a sign. Got it. I'm like really big on signs. Like, I take everything literal. Like, not everything literal, but like, I'll be like, oh, they gotta mean something. Maybe that means something too. So anyway, I was like super big on that. And so unfortunately, the episodes, they did not get released. You know, although it was like a really good time, my spirit just wasn't moved. Yet again, I noticed myself forgetting my intent. I noticed myself not staying focused on the mission, right? I super appreciative of the opportunity, but I realized I was focusing less on the story behind the person and more on who the person was to the world. I realized I was even asking surface questions. I wasn't even asking things that were deep. And maybe I was to some extent, but my intent wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? So I never released those episodes. Maybe later down the line I will. I think I gotta find them. But I met some wonderful people, made some great friends, built some great relationships. So again, it was amazing, right? So moving on, fast forward a year later, once I realized that I had to take some time off. And let me say this too. Taking time off is okay. Clearly, because what I do, clearly, it is okay. Stop letting social media, stop letting the society feel like, oh, I gotta post. I gotta go. I gotta stay up. Stop keeping up with the Joneses. Stop. Let the Joneses be the Joneses and you be you. And stop thinking that you have to have this mentality of not even resting. I think that is insane to me. Like, I get what some people say. Like, okay, tonight, not this ain't sound like a contradiction, but since in months, I may pull an all-nighter because I had some things to do tonight. That's just that. but I'm not consistently pulling all-nighters. I'm not consistently losing sleep. I need to be well rested so I can have a healthy mindset to push forward for the next day. I don't need to lose sleep. I don't need to take naps and sleep for 2 hours and say, oh, let's get on the grind. That's cool for those it works for. That's good for you. But I need to rest. My rest is important. Me really, relaxing my mind, that is important, because I need to be able to be fully in control the next day. I have to be. I need to know when to sit still. I was just watching this YouTube video, this monk. He was saying how stillness is the key to success. Learning to be still. You don't always have to be on a go. It's not always a rush. You don't always have to keep up with those around you. Be you. Be who you are. Just be you. Being you is what's going to get you successful in life. When people see that you're genuinely being yourself and not trying to be somebody else, that's what's going to gravitate people to you. That's what's going to gravitate blessings to you when you're being yourself. Point blank. So anyway, moving on, I took a year off. I had to, because it just wasn't making sense. And I get to the point where I get frustrated. And my sister always tells my kid, if you pray about something and you don't have an answer, just sit still. Just sit still. Don't do nothing. Don't make no decisions. And I told y'all, my patience, I pray for my patience, and I have really came a long way. If you know me back then, you know how impatient I was. But I've really come a long way, right? And I practice that so much. Sit still. You pray about something, you don't have an answer yet, sit still. Do not be eager to make a decision. The Bible says, be impatient for nothing. And I literally, when I'm running late somewhere, I'm like, my kid, be impatient for nothing. Calm down. You better take a step back. Ma'am, I have to get myself together numerous times throughout the day, okay? I even do it in front of people. People probably think I'm crazy. I don't care, because I'm going to be together. I'm going to tell you that much. So anyway, I took that year off, and I began doing my inspirational videos. Many people knew about them. A lot of them I actually started on Snapchat. And to this day, I post a lot on Snapchat to my close friends. I actually have some people on there that I don't even know, that I've met randomly years ago, and they just happen to still be there, which is dope because they're cool. But I post a lot on Snapchat. I post a lot of inspirational videos to this day that I don't even put on other platforms, and that's just just me. So anyway, I was posting all of them on Snapchat. Then I began to get some courage, and I posted them on Instagram. Got a lot of good feedback. Everybody, a lot of people enjoyed it. It was really helpful to people, and it really made me so happy. When people was commenting or messaging me oh my God, I needed this, or this really helped, y'all, that touches my heart. You don't even understand. It makes me so happy to be able to say that what I felt was on my heart to speak was spoken into someone else, that it helps someone else along their journey. It feels so good, right? So as I'm doing these inspirational, stories, I still feel a nudge to do my show. It's God was still okay, yeah, you took a break, but I'm still knocking on your back door that you need to do this show. And I'm okay, God, but where do I start? I felt like you told me to take a break, which he did, because I needed to. So immediately, I started investing in myself, in lights, microphones. I knew I had to be prepared. That is so key. Preparation. Being prepared for the prayers that you pray for. You have to prepare yourself. So in preparation, I started to invest in myself, right? Now look at us, we got all this nice little stuff right here, okay? So anyway, yes, that was one of the first steps, but God just kept on. I still felt that fire. I still felt that passion, right? So of course, I'm constantly praying. I'm praying to the Lord for wisdom, for guidance. Where are you taking me with this? Why is this desire still on my heart? And something is tapping at your heart. Something is literally pulling on you. And God is telling you to do it. Stop ignoring it. Stop ignoring that feeling you feel in your heart. Stop ignoring what your spirit is telling you. Stop ignoring that feeling, that gut feeling that you have. Stop ignoring it. It's going to feel better when you acknowledge it. I promise you. So I'm okay, what do I do? How do I get people on my show? I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? So Markeya was you should make a video and ask people to unlock their story with you. And if you know me, I don't like to ask for help. And that's something that I'm working on, because that's really not a good trait. So if you that person, it's really not okay. It's not cute. We may think it's cute to be almost independent. It's cool to get what we need to get when we do what we don't have to rely on others. But it's also okay to ask for help. And we have to adjust our mindset to be okay with telling people like, hey, I need a little help. Hey, I don't have it all figured out. That's fine, because you need to always be a student at heart first. Stop trying to be the teacher. Stop trying to be the person at the top. Why? Because at the top, you got to do all what's necessary to stay at the top. Because don't dare get to the top and have to come on down. Because then they're going to talk about you whether you get to the top or the bottom. They're going to talk about you. But when you hit the top, you got to come on down. That ain't okay. So ask questions. Ask for help. Be a student. Listen. You know what I'm saying? Learn things. Figure things out. So I was like, Markeya, you're right. Markeya was like, well, like, how will they know that you need them to unlock if you don't tell them that you need them to unlock? I said, you so right. That was silly. So immediately I made the video, and interesting enough, I got so many hits. Not interesting enough, exciting enough. I got so many hits, y'all. Like, I was really surprised. People were messaging me, commenting, sending it. Like, it was so many people. It blew my mind. But interesting enough, now this is how God works. My mom always says, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. If that's what you want to, if you want to make him laugh, tell him a good joke. Tell him your plans. And God already had my guest aligned. He already knew who I was going to have on the show. But he still needed me to put that work in. He still needed to know that I was serious. And he still needed me to understand that faith without works is dead. So regardless of the Lord was going to bring these people, my journey would have been a lot more difficult and uncomfortable had I not moved when he told me to move. You know what I'm saying? So interesting enough, my guest from the first season that I actually dropped did not come from any of the people who reached out at all. It was from the most random times. So my one guest, Early Mac, he's an artist. I met him at Sam's Club. He was trying to put my groceries in my car for me. And here I go, Miss Little Independent. No, I got it. You at Sam's Club. I didn't have the cart. I had the one that you pulling. I had the flatbed, full of stuff. And I'm like, oh, no. So he like, you need help. It's okay, you're right. Go ahead, help me. So I'm super grateful. So that was one of my first guests. And then I met another young lady. I was at this poem night thing I used to go to every Wednesday. I loved it, right? Because as many know, I love to write poetry. But my poetry is very sacred to me. Like, I don't really share my poetry. But my sister-in-law was like, you should get up there and you should share. And I was like, girl, you tripping. I'm not about to do that. Like, you should do it. So I did it. I gained some courage, y'all. And I did it. I introduced myself and I said my poem. I was like a little afraid. I was shy. You know what I'm saying? A little stage fright. It was a little scary. But I did it. I grew some courage. And ironically, here we go. Well, not ironically, but the way the universe lined it, the Lord who prepared the universe. Be very clear. But one of the girls in the audience reached out. They loved my story. They loved my poem. And they wanted to unlock their story. And that was my girl, Wendy. She's a social worker. So that was super dope. Then another guest of mine is a psychologist, Dr. Brandy Pritchett Johnson. Interesting enough, the way that she came aboard, this day in particular, I did an interview, right, with a certain guest. And in that interview, I was like really upset because this person needed needed some sort of guidance. You know what I'm saying? This interview never got released, by the way. But this person needed guidance that I felt like I couldn't give them. And the entire time I'm praying, like, God, what can I do to help? What can I say? Like some sort of advice, some sort of counsel. God, like, baby girl, you are not qualified. You are not qualified. So you need to take a step back. But that made me more frustrated because I'm like, I see things, but I don't know how to help to a point where this person will actually listen, right? So I was just really upset. I felt like, I said, this isn't for me. That was one of my last interviews I had did a few years ago. I just knew at that point it was not for me. I went in my car. I'm a Cancer zodiac sign. Not that I'm super big on zodiacs, because I feel like we all are individuals. However, I definitely know there's some characteristics now. some similarities. But I'm really in tune with my emotions. I truly am. And after that interview, I got in my car. I was bawling my eyes out, like crying. I'm like, this is not for me. I've wasted so much time, so much money. Why am I here? I'm like praying out to God. And this is the thing. When you praying, stop coming to God with these little cutesy prayers, these little picture perfect prayers. No, be yourself. You can be angry, but sin not. And I was just expressing my frustration to the Lord, like, God, like, I am so upset. I did nothing for this person. And we just spent like 2 hours. Like, it was just ridiculous, honestly. It was a lot. And I was just like super emotional, and I just really feel like I wasted a lot of my time. And in the midst of me crying, here go the Lord. I usually say, joy comes in the morning, but joy came in that moment. And I got a message from a sweet girl, Sheena. She reached out like, hey, we would love for you to interview our psychologist. And I'm like, a psychologist? I said, what? Lord, me? You're picking me? Absolutely. I'm on it. I'm doing research. I'm getting prepared. I'm like looking up all, like, cause it was like, oh my God, let me show y'all how to, God be aligning things so perfectly. So the interview that I was really upset about, I needed a doctor in that interview. I needed a doctor, right? So since I wasn't able to have a doctor at that moment, I took the things that I learned from that interview and I asked her questions based off of what I couldn't assist with in that interview. And it was amazing. I felt like, you know what? I can't help, but now I can get you the answers that I knew you needed. Oh my God, I just thought about that. But anyway, dope. So that was my guess. And then another guest was my girl, Ashley Nickens. This was a friend, y'all. A friend who not only had a story to unlock herself, but a friend who believed in my vision and believed in me and wanted to be on my platform. Like, that was so amazing to me because she didn't have to do that. And she built so much courage to share a very intimate, traumatizing story to her. And she did that. And that was so beautiful. And I love her for that. I love everyone who have supported me and who have decided to be a guest on my show. I'm so appreciative. Even those that the episodes didn't get released, I'm so appreciative because I learned, I grew, and I've become who I am today because of you all. So I thank you so much, right? Right? So from those moments and on, it reminded me that, we all have a story. We all have a story and have shared some walk of life, and it's worth sharing to the rest of the world. It really is. And, you never know how your story can impact someone else's life. Like, you'd be so surprised of what people are going through, what they hide, what they choose not to share. You can look at a person and see a beautiful smile and never know what's really behind that smile. You never know. So don't walk past people. Don't judge a person. You don't know what they're battling. Don't. Have grace. Have grace for others. As my friend always tells me, give yourself grace. I'm telling you guys to give others grace, please. And unlock your story and unlock a life, okay? So now we're here. We on my patio. I'm giving y'all some fire vibes. I done gave y'all a very long episode because I was talking to talk. But it's okay because this is a podcast. This is what we're here for, to listen and for me to talk. So with that being said, I want to share with you all a scripture that I read that really helped me and opened my eyes, right? This scripture was Exodus 14, chapter 14, verses 13 through 14, right? And this is a New Living Translation, and it says, "But Moses told the people, 'Don't be afraid. Just stand still and watch the Lord rescue you today. The Egyptians you see today will never be seen again. The Lord himself will fight for you. Just stay calm.'" And so a little backstory behind this. Basically, in this particular moment in the Bible, Moses is leading Israel out of Egypt, okay? He's leading them out of Egypt, and Egypt is like really trying to kill them. Like, it's really like scary. And it's crazy because like we go through our own thing today, but majority of us would not be able to survive in Bible time. Like back then, like we would not be able to survive. And that's just real. I read these scriptures and I be like, oh my God, the amount of faith that these leaders had to have and that the followers had to have to believe in them. It's insane to me, right? So I'm like, oh my God, like Moses is like gathering these people, mind you, and interesting enough because just Sunday, we read the scripture about this exact thing, how Moses had to lead them. He had to split the Red Sea, y'all. And it came up like walls of water for them to cross. Are you kidding me? Like, they say you have to have faith the size of a mustard seed. Could you imagine the amount of faith he had to do that? That just was like, wow. Like, wow. Imagine God putting you in position and giving you a role in a task like that. Imagine that. Imagine the amount of trust Moses had to have in God, in the expectation he had. It was just like mind-blowing to me. It really was. Like, thinking about all the thoughts and the emotions that were going through their mind. And I'm sure he was feeling some type of way, because if you know, prior to him actually accomplishing this, he was giving the Lord all kind of excuses as to why he couldn't do it, as to why he felt he wasn't qualified. He didn't see in himself what the Lord saw in him. He just said, God, I can't do that. But what about this? They ain't gonna listen to me. Da, da, da. God, I chose you. I know you. I know who I created. You need to know who I created, because I already know. And that's what you need to do today. You need to look in the mirror and know who God created and what God created in you. But the moral of the story was being calm in the midst of the storm. You may have a storm going on. You may be going through all HE double hockey stick. I guess they say hell isn't a cuss word. Mama, daddy don't. I want to hear it. No, I'm playing. But you may be going through it. You may be. But just know that you're going to get through it. And like Steve Harvey would say, I think he said, if you in a dark tunnel, why would you stop? Don't stop. Keep going. You might as well just keep going, right? And get out of it so you can see the light of day. And do that. The storms may be coming. It's okay. They're gonna come. But the thing about life is, it's all about how you react to those storms. The challenges will come. They will come. Just know that. You can't avoid them. But how are you going to react towards them? Are you going to let them defeat you? Or are you going to defeat it? What you going to do? You going to break or you going to bend? What you going to do? It's up to you. It's all about how you react. I was about to spit a verse, but I decided not to. Y'all can see that side later. Maybe I have Marky on here rapping. But anyway, before I let you guys go, I have to give you a key of the day. I have a few keys. One key I thought of today actually was a key to life is you have to choose what is important to you. What is important to you? What is worth your time? What are some things that you feel like are a necessity in your life? Another key I wanted to leave you all with is do not give up. Pause if you need to. Take a break. But never give up. Don't ever. Not playing. I don't sing. But never give up. Please don't. Sit still when things are getting too chaotic. Learn when to sit still. But don't give up on yourself, okay? Please don't. You still have breath in your lungs. It's still work to do. It's still go time. It's not a rush. It's not a race. Do it at your own pace. No, I'm playing. But it's not a race. Take your time and do not rush, please, okay? My sister always tells me, she goes, you are exactly where you're supposed to be in life, and don't ever question it. Pay close attention to life around you, but also know that you are exactly where you belong, okay? And hey, if you enjoyed today's episode, leave me a review, what they say on YouTube. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Do all of that. You can find me on all streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, iHeartMedia, Stitch, Spotify, Pandora. Find me. Instagram, Facebook. Find me. So on my streaming platforms, it's Unlocked, past tense. So UNLOCKED, Unlocked, with keys with the S, okay? And my Instagram and Facebook is MykeyaLatia, which is spelled, y'all ready? MYKEYA, Latia, LATIA, okay? You can also type in Unlocked with Keys and I should pop up. All right, so be blessed. Keep your mind unlocked to all the possibilities in life. And I will see you guys next time. It has been an absolute pleasure. Bye.